If you have ever modeled a flower vase or any similar shape, you might have faced challenges when asked to modify it at a later point in time, only to see that you don't have control over your base mesh. If you have noticed that most people jump into these finer details too early without paying close attention to the topology, and they end up losing control over the base mesh. For example, if I show you the wireframe, you will see I maintain very good topology here. So in this tutorial, I will show you a different approach, one that focuses on clean, reusable topology instead of quick results, and can be applied to many other workflows. Let me enable that render view for the time being. Okay, let me disable the wireframe. So here, if you want to learn how to get full control over your mesh and what to understand, not just how to model, but why one approach works and another fails, stay with me. I will break down the thinking behind every step so that you return with a good understanding. Let me jump to a vanilla blender scene. Let me delete everything. So any any new beginner, they will first start by adding some simple cylinder. Okay, let me move it to that Z axis. And this red thing, it is because I have enabled that face orientation just to see if the topology is nice or wrong. Now in edit mode, they will simply go. This approach what I am showing is beginners, they made this kind of mistake all the time. Okay, and just showing you how to avoid it. So maybe you will apply a shape like this and just apply subdivision later. Let me disable the wireframe for the time being, and maybe you want to scale it uh, scale it along normal like this. Let me disable the proportional edit. Okay, but the problem here is that you see this, some faces are smaller here, some places are longer here, that create a lot of problem later in the pipeline. So for example, say if you want to create a group shape here, so let me disable that edit mode here for the time being, and you say you want to do this kind of thing, right? So I just trying to create a group shape here, and let me extrude this face along normal, and you will see that I'm getting a shape like this. But problem is that some part of the face here is, this will create a lot of problem, and trust me when I am saying, I am playing from my better experience. In your mesh, it is better to have a nice face distribution. The faces should have equal length to have the optimal quality. But with such design where you don't have control over count of faces or the loop or the edge loops or this horizontal vertical line, it becomes very difficult. So if I make this a bit complex so that you can understand our thought process, what you can do, you can say that instead of modeling using a cylinder, maybe I can model using a simple line, right? So a line you can draw in many way. Okay, another way, maybe you can create a plane. You can just go to edit mode and collapse it to, sorry, uh, collapse it to a vertex, and then what you can do, you can basically move this thing object along x-axis. Okay, so and then change its origin back to the 3D cursor. So however, this vertex have a original 3D cursor. You can now extrude this object, this vertex along z. Okay, say for example I extruded it up to z, and then we can add some loop cut. Now you know, if you want to create a plane out of it, circular plane, Blender comes up with a very nice modifier called screw modifier. Okay, so you can just grab it from here, screw, and you know, in my earlier tutorial on modeling a screw, I showed you that if you enable only the screw modifier, the face normal is not correct. You can verify that. See, phase number not correct. So what you need to do, go to normal calculator. By the way, I forgot to mention one thing. Though without any add-on, I showed you how to create a single vertex. It can work for plane, cylinder, any mesh. But if you have this add-on enabled, the extra mesh object, then you can directly add the vertex from the mesh option. Okay. Anyway, so I showed you two ways to do that. Now see, with this cylinder being created, what I can do, if I enable the X-ray vision and enable proportional edit, I can just move it like this. Okay. And similarly, this one also I can move it like this, just to get some idea how it will work. You can tweak it to your liking. Okay, let me apply. Okay, another thing I forgot to mention. Uh, with screw modifier, it creates duplicate vertex. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to use the weld modifier so that it automatically removes the duplicate vertex, and you don't need to apply that merge duplicate again. Now if I apply some subdivision, you will see I am getting roughly that shape. Okay, and if you see now with this vertex enable, I can now tweak it. Okay, but it is basically a single line. So if you want to move, say you have this base shape and you are asked to model different bottle with similar shape but with different design, then you have no control over that, right? I will show you what I am trying to mean. For example, this is that wireframe model I am seeing now, right? Let me reduce that subdivision count 1 or 2, 3, 4 like this. It will become smooth. But before commenting, you don't know what are the amount of faces that will be facing. Okay. For example, let me disable the subdivision for now. You can see it has created edge of, say, how many count? We know that it is 16. So if I increase it like this, I can use it, say, 32 vertex here. But what about this vertical control, right? So for that vertical control, then you need to go and manually add some loop here, like this, right? Then you can say, okay, I have got vertex of 12 count. By the way, I need to close this old render because it will consume much more CPU power. Okay, so this way also, I mean, if you want to create the details later, you have to apply this modifier, right? Without applying, you will not be getting that geometry that you are looking for. This is okay, but I would say they're not optimal. I will show you even better approach of doing that. So what is that approach? Say for example, I applying the subdivision, and with this you can have a duplicate of that edge and keep it for your reference. Okay. Let me do one thing. This is looking very ugly. Let me do one thing. Let me relax it a bit. Yeah, now it looks good. Okay, so what you can do, instead of let me disable that wireframe. So instead of relying on that circle, so maybe you can create a duplicate of it, make it a name as plane backup. And what you can do now to have a control over that geometry, what you can do, you can start by adding a plane. Let me rotate it by 90 degree, move it by 1 so that, sorry, why I did it, I just put this plane on top of the x-axis, and let me move it along y so that I can see it properly. And let me do one thing, let me move it along z until at least it about hit the right side. Now with this kind of thing, what I can do, I can add some loop cut here like this. Okay, see, I'm getting a creating a shape with almost equal square kind of shape. Now what we can do, we can add array modifier. Say I want to have 3 similar pattern around this shape. I'm creating array of 3, and then followed by array I have this simple deform. Okay, by the way, I need to apply the rotation. See, be always be watchful of such mistakes. Okay, what I did, I with bend modifier, I choose Z axis and apply the simple deform. Now I would like this thing to conform to this my original shape. So for that, what you can do, we can use that. I think it is a deform modifier, the shrink wrap. So in the shrink wrap, if I choose this object, you will see it. Okay, for the time being, let me uh, naming it as target. Uh, as this is the second approach, target 2 maybe. Okay, and this is my original object. Sorry, plan backup I don't need. Let me hide it. This is the plain object on which I have applied this shrink wrap modifier. So you can see it is not working properly. I'll tell you what is happening. Let me disable shrink wrap for the time being. You will see, in order to shrink wrap to work, your object should actually, before applying the shrink wrap, it should cover the entire mesh, which is not happening here. So what I can do, if I go to top view, I cannot see this thing because I am in the solid view mode. To enable that, I need to go to wireframe. You see, the origin of this mesh, our thing, and the origin of that thing, they are totally different. Now what I can do, I can just scale it randomly so that it matches. Again, it is approximation. There are better way to control it. I just eyeball it so that it is at the center of it, and then I apply the shrink wrap, and you will see it is somehow coming to looking like that, but not perfectly. Why? Because I need to choose a different method for the shrink wrap. So I'll just apply project with positive negative, and maybe I need to scale it on the Z a little bit. Let me see. Ah, almost it is mapping correctly. Let me apply the scale. Okay. Now let me see. This is the target. Let me hide the target. This is my plane. Well, applying this shrink wrap, it has done its job. Now you may think that okay, with this shrink wrap done, you can say that you may try to model some groove here and there, and then you will think that okay, maybe it will work. But trust me, this option is also not good because shrink wrap, it is fine, but see, this mesh, you don't have actually have any control. If you want to change it later, you cannot do it. You need to remove all the vertex, again do the loop cut, again do it. That's a very tedious thing to do. So let's keep this thing as well and show you. I think this, as I am moving it, it is causing problem. So let me do one thing. Let me grab both the objects, this and the target, and move it on the side. So now what I'll do, I will show you both the shrink wrap option as well as this screw based option and combine them together, and will give you a foolproof solution where you can reuse the same screw modifier to create your base mesh model as well as apply the shrink wrap so that you have a very nice thing. Just let me show it to you, otherwise you will find it difficult to understand. So let me add this vertex here. I'll go to object mode, move it like maybe like this. Okay, and change it origin to the 3D cursor. And what I'll do, I'll just extrude it around Z, maybe by 3, like previous time. And I'll just apply very little loop tool. I don't need it too much. I'll tell you why. Because I will be doing a different approach than the previous one. So I'll follow the same thing. I'll just, by the way, how I got it, because I have a hotkey D for my add modification. You can do the same thing. What I'll do, I'll just use it, the screw modifier, as we used to do, use the weld modifier, and then I will use that subdivision. But subdivision I'll do at a later stage. Okay, so what I'll do, let me grab this and let me move it like this. I think it's not looking good at this stage with this setting. Let me change it to sharp. No, sharp is also not good. Inverse square, let me try. Ah, inverse square is a little better, I would say. And for this one, let me try with maybe sharp. Let's see. Yeah, it looks good. Much better. Okay, let me move it like this. Move it like this. I'm getting a good shape out of it. Okay, I add few more subdivisions so that it becomes very smooth. I'm making it a new target. Let me call it target 3. And to save our life, let me disable all the other things. I don't need them. Okay, it is better I clean it up everything. Let me move it to a new collection. Press M, new collection. Say final. Okay, so here I have created my that target model. Let me disable that wireframe as well as extrusion. I don't need that thing as well, face orientation. Now on top of it, I will show you how to model that. You remember in that target 2 I showed you how I created a plane and applied it as shrink wrap, but before that we faced a challenge. It was not working properly. I will show you how to create a plane with proper control of your topology. We'll again start by a simple single vertex. Okay, single vertex I have added here. Now you will see anytime you let me undo it a little bit again more. You will see whenever you create a single vertex, it by default jumps to edit mode. Okay, and it selects some other mode. Be careful. Watch it. If you see you cannot move that vertex, remember you need to go to here and change it. In order to move the object, what you have to do, your intuition will say, okay, I will just move it by X like this. I say, no, don't do that. There is a better way to do that. What you can do, you can use the displace modifier. By default, you will see displace is doing nothing. Okay, so what you need to do, change it to X. Okay, and look at this. It is doing halfway because mid level is 0.5. Let me reduce it to 0, and then you will see it has reduced gone by 1 unit in the grid. So let me make it a bit higher like this. Okay, or maybe I think 1.7 is also good. Now this vertex has moved up to this distance. What I have to do now, I need to extrude it along the z axis. Now my friend, if you remember, that time I just manually extruded it, right? And that fixed its length. I had no control, but I showed you I will do it dynamically. What you can do, you can add the same screw modifier, but I am pretty sure you have never used see usage of screw modifier like this. How can a planar circle which is getting generated by default in screw, how can you create it for extrusion? Yes, your doubt is perfect. What I'll do, I will use the angle as 0, z is 0, and here screw I'll just 3. You remember when I created this mesh, my height was I specified 3. As I remember that, I said that I want it to be modeled like this. Okay, and this count determines how many count I'll be having here. You cannot see it now because I have not committed it, but trust me, when I will go at a later stage, you will see how this will impact your topology. Maybe I can show it quickly by the wireframe. Okay, okay. Uh, now with this screw modifier, it has increased up to this. Let me enable the wireframe. This one you are seeing from the our target, and this is that working model. Okay, so let me rename it like this: vase working progress. Now I need to spin it for actuality. What I'll do, I just apply screw modifier again, and you see, as I have wireframe enabled, I can see how this topology is getting constructed. Now you can see the faces are not square, but not like last time. You don't have to go and modify it there, right? You can do it right here. So this circle, the amount of circle is determined by this count. Let me try to make it 32. Yeah, looks good. 48 looks good. So I am getting to that shape, squarish kind of shape. Now you will ask me, okay, Sudipto, you have done up to this. What about conforming to this very shape? Yes, you are right. Before that, let me apply that. Uh, where did that thing go? Yeah, weld modifier. And also make sure normal is there. Let me also verify if normal is showing correctly. Yes, it is showing correctly. Now I will just another thing. Go to the top view and look this cylindrical shape. You remember in earlier step I showed it using simple deform, but here using this procedural thing, let me disable it. You will see it is actually a single vertex, right? But you are getting a very nice control of your topology. So now at this point, what you can do, use the shrink wrap on this base model. Okay, now I don't need to see it. Okay, what you can do a project on negative axis, and here, my friend, what you can do, scale it on Z little bit, little bit. Okay, let me apply the scale. Uh, okay, I will apply the scale later because it is causing some problem. Okay, now you can see that yeah, I have enabled out the display mode. Now you can see that I have a good control of my topology. So if I change it here at runtime, I can see how many topologies I did, whether I want it to be very dense or very light, I can do it. I'm pretty sure you haven't seen usage like this in any other tutorial. Okay, so for example, let's say I want to have uh, a flower vase model, the one which I showed you, like this one. Okay, maybe I can. This is bit looking better. I have three-sided such curved details along my thing. So with a little knowledge of mathematics, what you can say that I need a loop with multiple of 3, right? So here you can see I am having 30. 30 is okay, but I think with 36 I will have a much better geometry because this I am getting this line exactly on the vertical line coinciding the y-axis. That means I can create a nice symmetry out of it. Okay, and at this point I think let's have a quick backup of this object. Why? Because I want to teach you something extra. Okay, okay. Now that it is done, what I'll do? Let me think. Uh, what I can do to create the details, I will just commit the initial few modifiers. Okay, let's apply this one, apply this as well, apply this as well, also apply this one. Now let me also enable the edit mode. Now see, I am getting 36 vertex, so that means I will be also having how many faces? 36 vertex. So if I want to make 3 details radially symmetric, I need to select 12 faces on each of the side. So what I'll do, I will just select these 2 strip and use Ctrl plus to select 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, and rest of the item I can safely delete. Okay, so what I'll do, I don't need the shrink wrap modifier at this point. I'll just apply it, and now I have this mesh selected. I'll just Ctrl I and delete all the faces. Now I have got this beautiful looking mesh. Now I am free to apply the details here. Okay, so what I'll do, I will just let me disable that proportional edit. Okay, and let me insert it a little bit. Okay, remember whenever you're doing insert, make sure you choose this edge rail. Now what I'll do, I will extrude the face along normal Okay, just to have that groove shape like this. Okay, and now if you refer to this thing, you see this curve is not going all the way. Okay, it is getting smoothened out at the edge. You might be thinking maybe I would be doing some bevel or some fancy version. No, I'll be showing you a very easy way how you can achieve it. Just follow along. Okay, what I'm doing is just merging the vertices here. Let me merge by distance. And now what I'll do another tricky things that comes by default by loop tools. This is the loop tools here. If you want, you can just go to preference, search for loop tools, you will find it. It is very handy add-ons to have. I will use the G stretch to stretch out these vertices. And now this is done. And now what I can do? Let me think. Let me think. This looks good to my eyes. Yeah, maybe I can. Let me do one thing. Let me actually apply the sub D because that will give me a better view of it. Let me disable the wireframe. Yeah, looks good to me. What I can do, um, maybe move it this side a bit, this side a bit. Yeah, looks fine to my taste. Okay. Or maybe what you can do, you can just move this a little bit down here, this also down here, so that I have a nice rounded shape like this. You see, looks good, right? Now, be careful whenever you apply for such segment of base mesh, you will see it will round the corners. Okay, now if you try to apply radial area on it, it will not allow this edges to merge properly. Okay, so now that I am okay with this shape, let me do the other details like this kind of details. And for that, what I'll do, I'll just select some of these edges. Okay, like this and like this. I'll just insert it a little bit and maybe extrude it a little. Well, I do not need to go overboard with it. And I have verified that this subsection of it looks good. Okay, then I can say I don't need the subdivision at this point. But now I will create the radial array. Again, it is very simple. Let me see. Okay, scale is not applied. Fine. Let me apply the scale. Let me go to the edit mode, go to top view, Alt E, spin. I hope it should work. Use duplicate. Yeah. And let me merge by distance. Okay. Let me apply, bring back the subdivision. You will see this looking absolutely perfect, right? Look at this. Wonderful, right? You can go and apply any modifier into it. Now, as I told you, how about reusing this thing? That is why showed you that point of having that backup. Okay, so let me jump to that backup. Say uh, this backup is here, and you are asked that you need to apply similar design. Where did that go? This one, but create some additional details. Okay, now that you have this backup, you are free to go and change it. How you will change it? I already showed you, right? So for this mesh object, if I go like this, and you will see that I have this thing in my control. Okay, so what I can do, I can do it like this, I can do it like this. You have all sorts of control which was not present in any of the other previous option. So you can surely understand the power of this thing. Okay, now that it is done, so let me do one thing. I need to have some control of my topology. What I'll do, uh, let me also have a backup of it, or maybe you can let me do it, show it quickly, and then you can apply it in your with having multiple backups in your mind. Okay, okay. Now here you can see I have created the base mesh, And you can see that here this part is bit squarish, but not here, it is long. Now tell me how you will do that change. So let's go a step back. Okay, what I will do, I will not fully commit the entire modifier stack here. Okay, I will apply this thing first and this thing first. What it will do, it will give me this vertex which is creating this thing. So let me enable the wireframe modifier, and as these are very narrow script which tells only one thing. What is that thing? That I need to have even denser vertices here. So up to this level, this it is work. So what I'll do, I'll just simply resolve all and add even more vertex like this. See, now I can go and tweak it to my own liking as long as I feel that I am happy with it or not. So once I see, okay, I am getting almost squarish shape, I am okay with it. How it will become useful? Because see, this kind of thing, let me move it like this. It gives you immense control. So you want to do some detailing here, okay? And if you don't have such control, you will not be able to apply details. Now, how it is becoming helpful? Let me show you that, okay? Then you can apply it at your own. Say now with this thing, let me enable this thing. You say you want to create some circular shape here. Let me disable that. Okay, I think something is going wrong here. Okay, I got it. I got it. I need to actually apply this thing. Okay. Now, if we apply the circle modifier, you will see you are getting a very nice detail here. Okay. But tell me one thing. In the earlier approach where you did not had that control in the initial stage 1 or 2, you basically have no control. But with this approach, you can have a different level of details in your entire topology, and you can always have an option to go back and correct it later. Okay, so that's why I told you that let's have a backup of this thing, and I will show you this finer control so that you can create any kind of design. Yeah, trust me, any kind of okay details. And it is not only limited to a simple like flower face like this. Okay, you can apply it in any other complex. You say you want to create a spaceship or some engineering tools, you can apply this technique to do anything. Okay, so let me undo a little step back, and no, let's be like this, and let's enable this one, not this one, the earlier model. And let's, if we see that wireframe view for both the model, you will understand what I was trying to show you, right? So yeah, with that, I think I really added some value to your learning today. Okay, thank you, keep watching, and if you have time, please go check my other tutorial. Similarly, I will explain each and everything in very details. Thank you, bye.